Welcome everybody to another, oh my goodness, another edition of Book on the Shelf, which is Vision Made Book Club. We have on here different guests that come on and talk about the book. And today I have another author that is joining me. But before I do that, if you would like to ask any questions and you're not part of StreamYard, you have to give us permission. And it just says you grant us permission to be part of StreamYard. That's all it does. And so that allows me to see your questions, your remarks instantly. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can go ahead and text me at 614-398-3925 and put in your question, and I will definitely see that question here on my phone. I got it right here next to me. Those of you who are new to the book club, this is something I've always wanted to do. And I always wanted to bring on authors around the world to talk about their book and how it can empower us as the community, as society, to move toward what's next. And so today's guest, her name is Bernette. Bernette is the author of Who Moves Her Curves. So go grab if you're like me, where you're always reading and drinking at the same time, and sometimes you have your snacks, go grab everything as I bring Bernette to the stage, and you get to hear her story. So go get your stuff while we get to the stage. Hello, lady. How are you doing?
Hi, Pam. I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. How are you?
I am great. Thank you. Everybody, those of you, I'm going to give you a quick synopsis and then I'll let her tell you a little bit. But I have this amazing woman who has author of 12 books. And so that just right there just was astounding to me, as I'm struggling even to write the one book of my own. So kudos to you, as well as I see you have done 2 plays as well. So,
I have.
and as well as also a coach for those of you or those of us that are authors, getting out there, using your book and getting your message out. So without further ado, tell everybody a little bit more about yourself.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, I'm Bernette Sherman and I am an author. It's now 13. This was the 13th, lucky 13. And I started writing in 2016 and just kept going. That's just writing and publishing. I've been writing since I could probably write, but writing and publishing since then. And so this book came along, this last one came along because of my own journey. It was, a very holistic wellness journey that I started September of last year. And I realized as my anniversary was rolling around that I had learned so much and gotten so much from my own journey that I wanted to share it in some way to help other women.
And it's so needed, especially when we get to that certain number or certain age in our life. Before you get to the 40s, you're always like, oh, I have plenty of time. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. And then 40 is here, and then 45 is here, and you're like, wait a minute, where has life gone? And here I am almost creeping on 60, and I'm like, I thought I had time. So
Yeah.
the book has really come, actually, it has really come to me and as an eye opener. Which one thing, let me say this: when you were writing it, I'm like, okay, she's talking to me. Because you're talking about the night sweats, I'm like me, and then the stress that brings on to life and things like that. Those of you who don't know, when we were in the back in the green room, we were talking about this more, and I want everyone to understand that we need to talk more about our health and understand how it plays a part in our life. And the reason why I wanted to give that synopsis is because before this, I didn't really pay attention. I was not focused on what I should be focused on. I was so worried about this that is important, but my health is more important, because without my health, I can't even get to the next level. I can't even get to the next goal.
And our health is our wealth.
It is.
It's our
I
personal
so
wealth.
and we have to understand that, especially we as women, we're
Mhm.
always so consumed with everybody else that we lose ourselves.
And we
So,
don't give ourselves time.
or grace. Let's be honest. We don't
Time
give
or
our,
grace. We don't.
we
And it
don't.
makes it difficult because when we're not giving ourselves what we need, we can't give anybody else, not
So
fully,
true.
because
So
we're always
true.
pouring out of an empty cup or a cup that's not filled.
That's true. And
Yeah.
it's so true. So as you had said, one, let me say this, you guys have to go get the bundle. I say the bundle because she has the book and the workbook to go
It's book and
with
the
it.
workbook. So
And it,
this is the book,
yeah.
but then the workbook, it's a 8 by 10 workbook, and I know I have one, but I'd have to get up and and grab it. But they're both on Amazon, available on the Amazon,
So
and they
what
go together.
so I was going to ask you, how do they work? How do they go hand in hand? Because let's be honest, let me speak for myself. I won't
Mhm.
put nobody on blast street. So normally, me personally, I'm like, okay, well, let me get the book, not getting the workbook. And I understand that they work together. So how do they work together? Let me ask you that.
So let me see if I
Okay.
have one handy. Okay, so this is the workbook.
Okay.
This is the book. So the workbook has, it's a, full workbook, but it has all of the exercises,
Oh, okay.
and it's like a kind of like a planner that takes you through the 28 days. So you don't, I'll be honest, like I created it, but you don't have to have it. You can
Got-
get a notebook. You could, do all of the stuff on your own and do all of the questions on your own. But this has all of the questions that I ask in each chapter.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And
There's
space to create
nice.
it. And it has space for you to create your own goals for the
Nice.
28 days. Planning has the habit makers.
I love it.
So it's got all the everything you need so that you can actually implement. Because the problem is people will get a book, but they don't actually do the work.
Okay, you're talking to me again.
Which is why there is a workbook to go with it.
I
Um,
think that is a great tool. I think that's such an important tool, and I think it's that I'm glad you talked about that because my first question was, do they work hand in hand together? Which that does make sense. But
yeah,
let's back up. One part of the, and I'm not going to give the whole premises of the book, but one part of the book that I really love that you talked about, and it's part of the book, is the four rent principles.
yes.
I really like that. What made you come up with the word rent?
Well, I had these exercise and nutrition, right? That was
Yes.
the EM part, and rest is the essential.
Oh, look, I
Um,
never thought of that.
and then truth. So I changed nutrition though to nourishment because it's not just nutrition. Our food is nourishment,
True,
but it's
true.
also not just, so none of these principles are just physical because this is a wellness book. And yes, you can get your body back, but you can get your mojo back.
Mm,
And so it is, I apply universal principles and practical principles.
I like that.
Yeah. So it's
So
rest, reset, which is the R, exercise, nourishment, and truth.
I love the truth. And
I love
that's the one we really talk, and that's one we really need to be first, let go of it all. Let go of the self-sabotaging, let go of the woulda, coulda, shouldas, because that's what we hone. That self-sabotaging is there, right? The
it
limited
is.
belief. And
It's
it was,
really easy.
and it's the easiest, right?
But you know what? Now I don't want to, it's like we think of it as self-sabotage, but it's really just shifted priorities.
That's true. I agree
Because
with
at
you.
some moment, because I'll be honest, this past week, did I eat the best? But there was a lot going on, and
Um,
I mean, the energy was different, and I moved in alignment with that because I was like, this week I need my popcorn.
right.
I need that comfort this week.
And that's okay.
And
But we
that's
also,
okay. That was the truth.
right,
That was the truth in this moment. Now, can I go every day like that for months and months?
right. Well,
Not and maintain my health. No.
right.
But in this moment, that's what I needed. But
Well,
I
let's,
also go back to the principle of rest, reset.
I was
So
just going
maybe
to,
I do that. But then sometimes, just like your body, you just need to rest. You need to, like what I say, just chill, Burnette. Chill on that right now. It could be resting from outside influences, resting from the media, resting from people who maybe aren't in alignment with you. Resting from just doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part is it's rest reset, because sometimes you got to come back to your baseline. Like,
True.
I know for my body what works, and I know what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm not in alignment, it shows up. My body shows me. But I also know, okay, I know how to get back. I know how to reset, how to calm my nervous system, how to get back to that place. And I do teach that in this book. I teach several principles, so that the principles, but then several methods in
Mm.
each of those principles of things that you can do in exercises.
That's good. And so you also, so going back to the rest and reset, can you give one tip on how someone can start implementing the rest and reset today?
I love one of the things I love most is the physiological sigh. Physiological sigh. And it's so simple. You don't need anything besides your breath.
Okay.
And you do it, and I'll show you how to do it. You do it, and it brings calm. You can do it a few times, but it just brings calm. And it's easy. You basically take 2 breaths in through your nose, you hold it, and you exhale. It's kind of like this. It's going to be strange on camera, but it's
Yes.
it just kind of releases the tension
Mhm.
and kind of resets the nervous system. And you can do it as you need. Deep breathing helps. And I
Yes,
have a bunch of things in here: walking, deep breathing, um, movement. But the physiological side is one of my favorite things to
I love
just
it.
do. Mhm.
I
And
do.
we think about when we were kids, a lot of us at this age weren't allowed to sigh too loudly. That was,
Mhm.
but really, that's a natural way of regulating our nervous system.
I so agree with you.
Yeah,
Right. It lets go of what's the tension that's here.
yeah.
It's up here. So
But we weren't allowed to do that, so we held it
right,
in.
right,
But it actually is a healthy way. Now, if you're walking around all day long,
right. You need to address that's a totally new another book for you to write on how to
right.
handle that one.
But when you need a moment to yourself, just take those 2 breaths and let it out.
I love it. So if
Yeah.
anybody wanted to get the bundle, we're going to call it a bundle. How can they get copies of, or how can they obtain them?
So if you go to if you go to Amazon and you just put in the name of the book, Who Moved My Curves, and then my name, Bernette Sherman,
Okay.
it will come up.
Okay. And I do have the Bernette Sherman down at the bottom and the name of the book, Who Moved My Curves. So let me ask you this. How did you come up with the title, Who Moved My Curves? I love that.
You know what? At first, I was going to name it like Menopause Mojo, but it was more than that.
Uh-huh.
Because it wasn't just menopause, it wasn't just midlife. It was the curves being everything. Like everything's just shifting. We're at this phase of our life, and all of our curves are shifting. It's not just like physically, but how we see ourselves, and how do we get back like to where those things are supposed to be in place.
Gotcha.
And it's a play on Who Moved My Cheese. And those of us of a certain generation remember remember
When I
that.
seen that, I was like, I love that. That makes
Yeah, so it plays on that memory. But for women of a certain age, when things just aren't where they're supposed to be anymore.
yeah, so true. Now
Yeah.
we have a lot of women out here who, first of all, I want everyone to understand the purpose, the reason we did this so strategic. So everybody, the holidays are coming up. And then they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna start exercising and get healthy January 1." Well, guess what? You get the bundles now. Start reading. Start educating. If you even need to connect to her, you can connect to her so you can be ready on January 1. Which that
Yeah.
theory doesn't throw for me. I just start off tomorrow and we'll work through where I fall off at and work through it.
Yeah, and you know what? You can build your plan. And one thing, if you read it now, you may not choose to start it now,
Correct.
but you may make some different choices about what you do over this holiday season
Right.
so that you're starting from a better place.
And that's all we're trying.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of this, is
Yes.
to get you started in some at a place
Yeah.
where you are. I know a lot of women around there were like, okay, so how do you even how do we change that mind shift? Because that right there is a job of its own self, you
It
know?
is. It is. And it's interesting because, and I talk about this in the book, before I started my journey, I started September 10th of last year. It was less than 2 weeks before I was at a neighborhood gathering, and a woman had a small gym in her house, and she said I could come anytime I wanted to work out. And I literally told her, I don't like working out. I don't like the gym. 2 weeks later,
You're in the gym.
I'm in the gym. I am doing it, right? But what I didn't realize, it takes a discipline, and it takes building a muscle of consistency
Mhm.
and learning to show up for yourself in some small way. It doesn't matter what it is. For me, it was Duolingo. And I
Mm,
didn't realize it by just doing Duolingo every day. And I didn't start it till I started Duolingo towards the end of August.
okay.
And I was like, oh, I made a week, you know? Oh, I
Mm,
made 2 weeks. I was like, oh, I can do something regularly. I can show up for myself and for myself. And that was a thing. Because it wasn't like Duolingo was going to help anybody else. I was showing up for
true.
me. And that's the thing, is I had to say I am deserving to take care of myself.
And that's hard for us though.
It
That
is. But don't wait till you have to take care of yourself.
Mhm.
Like, I had some like, I found a lump in my breast in August, right?
Yes.
And that was part of the motivation. It was non-cancerous, but I said at that point, I'm at an age where if I don't start taking care of myself now, it's not going to get any better, right? Like,
Mhm.
I have to do it now. It's like I don't feel good in my body. And if I don't feel good in my body now and I don't do anything about it, where am I going?
Right.
And so that picking something I could feel successful at
Mhm.
and building that consistency muscle and just showing up for myself on a regular basis, day after day.
So is that why you have created the 28 days? Because as they say, what do they say? If you do it consistently
At
over
least, yeah. So the 28 days it's kind of like a jump start. It helps you start building that consistency. And that is one reason why I did create the workbook, because if you say, okay, I'm going to commit to this workbook,
Mhm.
in the workbook, you have to build a plan. You got to
Um,
say what you're going to do. What are your goals for those 28 days? And then at the end, there's parts where there's just talking about, like, these are things you can do to remove the excuses.
I love it.
There's journaling places in there for you to write down, because sometimes you come up against those hurdles, and just writing them down.
It's makes it so much easier. I mean,
Yeah, like,
but let me say this, for me, journaling does two things for me. One, it holds me accountable, but it's also my connection when I can't get to my therapist that day. I can literally write down everything in there, and it takes
mhm.
what's in here and puts it on the paper, and it's released.
It clears things out. So there's a whole section that's just, you know, a journal. So you have the last week 4 jumpstart list, so activities that you can do to
I
do
love.
week 4, and then a journal so that it holds you accountable. It's almost
Mhm.
like it is a self-guided program. So you can say, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take this,
And put
you
it in.
know, find a friend to do it with you. It could be a Christmas gift you get for a friend, and
Right.
y'all
Can do
do
it
it
together.
together.
buddy system works. I trust
Mhm.
my buddy system does work. So
Yeah.
let's go real quick to the now. Here's my other one. I like look. I got to choose. That was one that I wanted to talk about, and the other one is all about the eating, the eat healthy eating. So do you have? Let me see. Do you have in there where there's plans, a healthy meal plan, or do we get to do it? How does that work?
Well, so one of the things with nourishment, and so I call it the nourishment section,
Yes.
is I don't believe in prescriptive diets,
Okay.
only
Okay.
because no one size is going to fit all.
True.
And anytime you hear, oh, go on the lemon diet, the ginger
Yes.
water diet, the avocado toast diet, people do it. They lose weight that week and then they
Right.
gain it all back and then some.
That's true.
Because if it's not something you can do consistently, it's not going to work.
True.
And
True.
it's really creating a lifestyle that you can actually live. So I give you the principles of
Oh,
nourishment.
okay.
I give you some ideas of, these are different foods that are beneficial. This is how much protein you need. This is why. This is how much um, carbohydrates and fats, and these are different macro splits. So I give you some of that information. I give you information on chrononutrition, on timing of your meals.
Mm,
That's beneficial for people of our age. But I don't prescribe a diet
okay.
because everybody has different preferences and different needs, and only a registered dietitian should do an
Gotcha.
actual plan.
Yeah. I like but see, you saying that gives me more freedom, right? And
Oh yeah.
it doesn't make me feel like I'm limited in this box. But then once I'm limited in the box, like you said, I'll do it for a couple weeks, but then I start slipping off and then make the excuses. Then I don't do it. Versus this allows me to have the freedom and the choice of this is for your health and this is what you can do. So let me ask you this one question I did do like, or the timing of the meals. Is this a myth or is it true that you should stop eating after 7 o'clock? Is that true?
So the science does not prove that out.
Okay.
What you eat after 7 matters,
Absolutely. Oh no, that
but
I
not that you just can't eat. Like
okay.
when I lost my weight, I was eating 6 times a day,
Yes.
and my last one was usually between 9 and 9:30. I would have a evening snack. Now, that snack was usually high protein, a high
Mm,
protein snack, or like I would do a carb master yogurt or a like protein shake or something like that.
yes.
Those work better. And this isn't for everybody, but women at a certain age,
Mm-hmm.
less carbs in the evening. Like if you want your carbs, have them earlier in the day.
Correct. I have
The
heard.
science bears out that it's better to everybody's going to be slightly different, but for
Yes.
me,
Yes.
I know the difference if I have them say after 3 o'clock, it's a
Mm-hmm.
difference literally the next day on the scale
Yes.
than if I don't.
I agree. Now, one thing I do at about 8, it depends what I'm doing. I protein shake. I love me my good old protein shake. I make
Mhm.
it so thick that I'm feeling
Yeah.
like trying to drink a milkshake. But
Yeah.
I love my protein shakes. And I have to say, for me, it has helped my night sweats like literally from day to night. And I've also noticed if I don't drink a high protein shake or I don't have a high protein at
Mhm.
night, I will start feeling the night sweats. And man, I can
And
feel it.
protein does help. It
Yes.
it does.
I
And
put
most women
my
aren't getting enough. So I talk about how much protein we really need and how much fiber we really need because and
we
it's not easy. That's why we have to have a protein shake and fiber supplements. But in the long run, our bodies need it. Our bodies need to lift a little bit of weights. Our
yes,
bodies need to walk. Our
yes.
bodies need to move.
That's true. But I don't know. I was somewhere and someone said 30 minutes a day. If you can just move 30 minutes a day, that'll get you started.
It
Um,
will. And even
and
if you can't move, and I talk about the power of 1 and the power of 5.
Yes. Someone just said something about that. I was like, really? Okay, now that really I can do that really sets me up for a
Because you
success.
got to start where you are. If you aren't doing anything, if you're working all day, sedentary at a desk, and I suddenly say, well, you got to exercise 3 days a week, 30 minutes, plus you got to walk,
Mhm.
10,000 steps a day, you're going to say, bye,
Right.
right?
No,
But you
true.
know what? Can you move 5 minutes a day?
Right.
Just this week, just
Yep.
5 minutes a day.
Yep.
And can you just walk 500 more steps?
Mhm.
And just start there.
I agree. I agree.
Start where you are.
Yeah, I know what I've started doing is I actually I put my sweats on before I start work, but then at break time, so then I already have my shoes on because I do like 5-minute walks and then
Mhm.
come back and then so I do my 2 5-minute walks, so that's 10 minutes, and then at lunch, all I gotta do is another 10 minutes, and then I can come after work, I can do the rest. But at least I know I did do my 30 minutes for that day. And
Yeah.
I never, no one until I heard it from well, you're the second person who had said it. And funny enough, you'll know who the first person was, Krista. And
Oh,
she was like, Miss Pam, oh, you ain't got you can do it, break it up. And so that's when I was
yeah.
like, that makes
We
sense.
don't have, yeah, we don't have to pressure ourselves to do everything all at once.
Yeah.
And
So
I mean, and with the power of one, what can you do one thing more?
exactly.
Just
Exactly.
one more. If you're walking up one flight of stairs, can you walk up 2 flights of stairs a day? It's just
Exactly.
like just
And keep
adding one.
moving. And it's and also reward yourself. My reward is let me go outside. I'm not even timing myself, and I'm going to be peace with me. That's my reward. And then that's where I really get caught up in the not I lose track of time because it's just so quiet and I can focus out. But also reward yourself and not with food.
That's yeah, not with food.
Because we're good for that. Let's be honest. We
Oh
may be
yeah.
good, but we're good for, okay, I did good. Let's go out to eat. No,
And then you take away all your progress.
right. You
Yeah,
just
people do that. They do the weekend.
yeah,
They'll do great through the week, and then the weekend comes, and all the progress that they made all week long is gone.
gone, gone.
Yeah,
So I'm
and
with
they
you
say, "Well,
there.
why can't I lose weight?" It's because you ate, and especially if you go out in America,
Oh yeah. Because you
the
get what? The triple the amount of food.
everything is huge. Everything
Right.
is supersized, and
Right. So I agree with you.
lots of salt and butter and fat and
Fried foods and
yeah,
everything that is not healthy for you. Though you can eat it in moderation, but it doesn't mean to go eat the whole thing,
yeah.
right? And so
And I don't know if I put this in here, but sometimes when I go out, I know I eat very slow. I do talk about the speed of eating in here.
yes,
Um,
yes.
I eat slow, but I usually have a to-go box,
I'm
and
always
it's okay to have a to-go box,
yeah,
especially with the price of food nowadays. You may as well try to get 2 meals.
right. Or free as much as they give you.
As much as they give you, sometimes it's 3.
Right. But what I used now that I eat slowly, and I'm like you, I'm normally the last one to eat. And then by this time I'm like, okay, just bring my food because I'm already stuffed. But
Yeah,
before my journey, I used to have them bring me the to-go box at the beginning before my meal
so you
came.
separate it, right?
Mhm. I
Mhm.
sure did. I used to do that faithfully. And the people were like, well, why are you doing that? I said, it is for me. And that's how I work with it. But now I eat so slow now. Girl, by
You
the
can
time
finish.
I'm so full, I'm like, okay, now how am I gonna get out of here without trying to feel like I'm getting ready to be rolled out of here? So
See? And yeah, but if you eat slower, your body and your brain get to connect.
yeah, I
Yeah.
so agree with you. Well, this was so fun. So, if anybody, real quick before we end our time, this is again so fun. Again, we'll have to have you back on to see where check in with everybody, see how they're doing on who moved their curves. If they want to get the book and the bundle, how and where can they get it from?
So you can go to my website is BernetteSherman.com, and probably something weird going on because I tried to update something, and this happens sometimes. You try to update something and then
It does, and then it
you
fails.
break something. So my websites are broken today. But that's okay. It'll be fixed. I'm gonna go back on with support as soon as I get off of you with you. But BernetteSherman.com and MountHopeMedia.com are my websites, but they're on Amazon. So you can get them on Amazon. Again, this is what it looks like.
Who moved my curves, you
And
guys?
there is an ebook version. So if you wanted to get the ebook version and get the workbook, that's also an option. So you can read it on your Kindle or your phone and then work through the workbook as well.
I love it. What is the one last thing you like to leave everybody with?
Whew. These principles, I will say this, these principles can be applied to everything in life. How you reset, how you rest. It can be applied to, I apply to money, relationships, my wellness, apply to work, how you rest, reset, how you exercise, which means how do you show up, how do you move in your world, and how do you take action, how do you feed yourself spiritually, mentally, physically, that's nourishment. And then being in alignment with your truth. What is true for you?
Mm.
What's the reality for you? And like physically, we have different body types. Everybody's not going to do the same thing. Their bodies aren't going to do the same thing. What's right for one person, what their truth is physically or mentally or spiritually is going to be different for someone else. So being able to operate in our truth. So those 4 principles we can apply to so many other things. So you can get your mojo back. That's get your body back and your mojo back.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Miss Bernette. This was so fun again, as always. I'm gonna put you in the green room, and I'll be right back with you.
Thank you, Pamela. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, everybody. So I again had another amazing author on here. That was Bernette Sherman, and she is the author of Who Moves My Curves. So if you're interested in getting her book bundle, which you get the book as well as the workbook, as you called her at the end, you also can get the book as an ebook. Who doesn't like a bundle? And this will help you get ready and prepared for 2025. For those of you who always setting your health and wellness goals to start at the beginning of the year, this can help you and get you ready so you can catapult and get going on 2025. So without that, I want to thank you all. I hope you found these tips. I did. I wrote down so many, and she talked about truth. And so that is this week's power word, truth, and living your truth. So without that being said, thank you again, and know that you're amazing, and go out here and get you a book to read so you can be with Vision Made Book on the Shelf. Till then, everyone, take care and bye.